You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. it's perfect.
Somebody who deserves it. If you put the work in, you can earn it. You and me together could be perfect. Put the work in, cause I'm worth it. And I think I found somebody who deserves it. If you put the work in, you can earn it. Got the kind of body that I wanna put my body on.
Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Turn up the heat, no stop till it's perfect. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Turn up the heat, no stop till it's perfect. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Turn up the heat, no stop till it's perfect. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Work it, work it. Turn up the heat, no stop till it's perfect.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday. Welcome, everybody. Derry Bennett, welcome. Michael Hausler, welcome. I hope everyone's having a phenomenal Tuesday. It looks like we're starting off pretty good. We're starting off pretty good. All right. Did you see the transfer yesterday? No, I did not. I'm not sure what that is. What that is referencing. I'll make sure I got everything going. All right. Folks, if you are in the path, which a lot of you, if you're in the States, may find yourself in the path of this extreme cold, please keep warm. Please stay safe. Please stay inside. It is freaking cold. Even, from this Floridian's standpoint, it is cold. We are expected to get hit with a pretty decent blast on Friday. Potentially even seeing some snow. So we'll see how that turns out. But definitely something that we are going to prepare for. So as soon as I'm done with this, as soon as I'm done with the stream, I will go and get some supplies, because it is a possibility that we might lose power, and that's never a fun thing when it's negative, whatever. It'd be cold today. It is. It is, and it's only like we got a brief relief, but that's soon going away, and as temperatures continue to drop, at least for us. Again, if you're in the path of this thing, bundle up, folks. Stay warm, because it's rough. It's cold. All right, folks, let's get started so that we can move quick. Gotta be quick to try to get through all this here. Folks, if you want to continue to support the channel, I appreciate your support. Thank you. You guys are what makes this go. I really appreciate it. Make sure that if you're on the YouTube, keep liking the stream. I see you guys. I see you keep hitting like. Thank you. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. Join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. We do a lot of movie events, and it's pretty freaking cool. It's cool and it's free. So if you want to join, you can. Also, consider checking out the merch store and hitting that exclamation mark tip to support directly. Thank you. I appreciate it. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the Substack. It's also free. That will be kicking off back again either this week or next week. However, I can try to pick it back up. But it's gonna be back. So the deal was an article a week, usually Fridays. So I will try to get back to that again. If it can't be done this week, then we will just do it. We will just do it next week. But in any case, as we kick 2025 off, we're slowly getting ourselves we're slowly getting ourselves back to normal, and everything will resume as it was. All right, folks, let's get started. Let's see if we fixed it. Hey, nice. Look at that. That is perfect. All right, let's get started, folks. We talked yesterday about the normalization of Trump, and I think this kind of riffs off of that. So let's take a look here.
We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We don't need anything they have.
But a lot of his supporters also just like that he...
Just to be clear, Canada is one of our largest trading partners. Okay. Canada is one of our largest trading partners. Continue.
He bucks tradition.
Wow, things are pretty stupid right now, aren't they? So, Donald Trump, in a press conference today, made some comments about various allies that he wants to take over. It's hard to know how much of this to actually take seriously. Because on one hand, this is so completely insane. On the other, Donald Trump is completely insane. So this could be a negotiating tactic for whatever his other purposes are. Could be a way to distract from the things he actually plans to do. Or it could be a real idea that he is laying out in front of us. So I'm going to get to a few of these clips, as well as some reaction online, including how CNN is being complicit.
Yeah, I would say that while I get my camera back, I would say that you should take exactly all of it seriously. Just, because, like, you can't talk that way. You just can't talk that way. That's not how this works. That's not how this should work at all. All of it. That's right. Yeah, we don't need anything they have. That's just a wild statement to say. You know, that is such a wild statement to say. To say that we don't need anything they have, when again they are a pretty big trading partner. That is such a absurd thing to say. All right, let's see if this works. Anyways, continue.
In some of this, and I'll get to how ridiculous the CNN anchor is in a bit here. But first, here is let's start with these comments. Donald Trump's idea to rename the Gulf of Mexico. Yes, this is how dumb things are.
$50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be
$1 trillion, trillions and trillions.
changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name.
The Gulf of America.
And it's appropriate.
It's not.
It's appropriate.
I mean, like, if you mean like the Gulf of North America, yeah, but that's not what he means. It's just so silly. Like, it's just so absurd at this point.
And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them.
The Gulf of America. What a beautiful name. It reminded me of Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. This is so dumb. In fact, it is so dumb that this was a joke that Stephen Colbert brought up in 2010 on the Colbert Report at the time. Colbert raised $150,000 for the Gulf oil spill cleanup, thanks to a sponsorship by Microsoft. So he got his wish. They gave money to the Colbert Nation Gulf of America Fund. Here is the graphic of that. Gulf of America. We are living in a time where Colbert's hyperbolic caricature of Republicans is, in fact, just what the party is now.
Right.
Let me get to the next clip. I got nothing else to add there. Like, what else is there to add?
Yeah, like, it's just so freaking absurd. And that's true. Like, it's wild that all the things that Colbert and, like, a lot of these comedians parodied off Republicans, that's literally just them now. They took it to heart, I guess.
So it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Here is more. This deals with Greenland and Panama, what he plans to do there.
The references to Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military?
Like, just to be clear, there's no way, shape, or form that the United States is just going to gain control of something like the Panama Canal. Not like that. You know, not without actually going in there and putting boots on the ground and saying, this is ours now. So that's just not how that works anymore. Like, you can't just decree that you are now in control of the Panama Canal, and that's how it, you know, like, I don't know, Trump lives in this weird fantasy land, I guess.
Or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you, you're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this, we need them for economic security.
So there you have it. Donald.
The pretext for the Canadian, Danish, and Panamanian invasion. There you go. That's the pretext. Boots on the ground in the next couple of weeks, folks. Oh, good lord.
Donald Trump claiming that no, military is not off the table when it comes to Greenland and the Panama Canal. And to go to just how far he is going with this, at least currently, Don Jr. is currently visiting Greenland amid father's interest in owning the island, which is controlled by Denmark. It's an autonomous territory, as they say there. The Danish PM says it's not for sale. I can't spend much time on this because it's just this gets to what is the benefit to anybody trying to actually go through with this, which again goes to why it is hard to take any of this seriously.
Right. Like I don't imagine and I don't foresee like Donald Trump seriously like invading Greenland or something, right? Like I don't think that's what he will do, but the problem is that like you as the president-elect, the person who's coming into power, you can't issue threats like that, right? You can't issue threats against another nation's territorial sovereignty. You can't just do that, right? Like that's not okay. It's not a joke. You are the incoming president of the United States. So these statements are serious. I just don't. It's just so outlandish that I don't think it'll happen. But nonetheless, extremely inappropriate and not just like out of the question or just out of the bounds of reality, but it's just inappropriate. You know, you can't just go around threatening the territorial sovereignty or the territorial integrity of foreign nations, much less allied nations who we have huge trade with. It just doesn't work that way.
But keeping in mind, Donald Trump is a very unserious, ridiculous person. And he is now surrounded with more sycophants than he was before. Meaning less guardrails, less people in the room who have some semblance of an idea of what is going on. So they are more open to these sorts of outlandish ideas in a way that his previous administration may not have been. Now, Charlie Angus, who was an NDP MP in Canada, reacted to what Trump has been saying, or what he said today, saying sending his dumb-ass son to Greenland while threatening Canada is a deliberate provocation of NATO. Going on to write, on the day he should have been offering a vision for America, Donald was threatening the sovereignty of Canada, which I'll get to in a bit here. And then he sent Don Jr. to Greenland in an overt message of grifter imperialism. This is a deliberate provocation of his NATO allies. Both Canada and Greenland/Denmark are founding members of NATO. Under Article 5 of the Charter, a threat to any NATO nation requires military intervention from other NATO allies. Germany, UK, France, Netherlands, Iceland, etc. Do you really think the U.S. Army is going to war with 32 countries of NATO? Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Yeah, I doubt it.
I don't.
Personally, I doubt it. It's just like
know what else to add here.
it's so exhausting.
Trump is not even in yet. So we got some time. Here is how CNN is reacting at least initially react to some of this. Check out how ridiculous the CNN host is here.
We should not be gratuitously pissing these people off. Again, where is the economic benefit for the people who voted for Donald Trump when he's off, telling tales of Greenland and renaming the Gulf of Mexico?
Well, when the way he pitches it is, when it comes to Greenland, for example, it's for national security purposes. Is there any credence to that statement?
No, it's bananas. It's insane. I mean, again, Denmark, which owns Greenland, I think that's probably a fact that most Americans.
Like, why are we even entertaining that? That's just wild. That is just wild. Like, oh, do you think that there's any validity to the national security argument? Why? Why would you even ask that? What prompted that? It's outlandish and absurd on its face.
Are learning is a NATO ally, right? No, so it's just complete madness from a national security standpoint, and it also is antagonizing, right? What if some leader in Canada or Mexico is elected and says, Mexico, we want California back? Where's the economic message there?
I certainly see your point about the economic message being a big driver for the election, but a lot of his supporters also just like that he bucks tradition, that he doesn't do what others do.
Okay, but what does that have to do with anything? Why does that matter? Like, and why is that a good thing? Why is that being seen as a good thing? Because CNN is caving. Yep.
That he's willing to throw stuff out there that may be controversial. And he portrays himself as a negotiator and a businessman. And a lot of his supporters, frankly, like that. A lot of his supporters, frankly, like what he threw out about, renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
Are you on the payroll? Is it your job to explain why his supporters like him? Or is it your job as a journalist to push back against insanity? To acknowledge objective reality, to hopefully report things from the perspective of human rights and humanity. Absolutely insane that they are entertaining this in the way that they are. To have the Democratic congressperson there be the one to try and inject reality instead of the actual news anchor is wild. Expect more of this. This is the turn that a lot of media is making. Mark Zuckerberg came out today, Facebook, saying that they're not going to be moderating content on there, that they're going to just, have fact checks based on the community themselves, which, if you know anything about the Facebook community, yeah, good luck with those fact checks. So this is just what a lot of those in power are doing. Simply bowing to the leader, Donald Trump, because they want to be able to maintain their wealth, their power. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's about access.
Here now is Trump's comments on Canada, which, like,
why even bother? Why even bother covering any of this if that's the way you're going to cover it? Why even bother why even bother covering any of this if this is how you're going to cover it? It's absurd. It's absurd.
God, at the very least, military force is off the table with Canada, at least for now.
For now.
Real fast, you're considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No. Economic force. Because Canada and the United States That would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have.
If you don't need anything that Canada has, then why do you want Canada to become the 51st state? Curious. I'm going to get to Justin Trudeau's response to that in a second. It appears the chains are off, at least a little bit, likely because he is going to be resigning, so he won't have to be dealing with this clown. But this is, I really don't need to defend Canada here. It's Trump. He says things. He's an idiot. But just to be clear on some of this stuff, I mean, energy alone. So in 2020, Canada supplied the U.S. with 98% of its natural gas imports, 93% of its electricity imports, and 28% of its uranium purchases, helping power millions of homes, businesses, and cities from coast to coast. The U.S. relies heavily on Canada. So you got nothing we have. Well, I'd like to see what would happen if the power was turned off. But on top of that, of course...
yeah, I'm pretty sure I heard a premier of Canada say that if the U.S. decides to enter a trade war, an economic war with Canada, they'll just turn off the power and see how long that'll go. Go F yourself around the world and take a swan dive into abandoned oil while you desiccate rust-colored piece. I like that, rust-colored. That's a good one. That's a good one, rust-colored. The rust-colored clown.
Canada, U.S. are each other's major trading partners. So you can see U.S. imports with Canada and U.S. exports. Top trading partner, of course, there's a lot that Canada has that the U.S. utilizes. The idea that there's nothing there that he needs is insane, again, just on its face, because he wants it to be a state, apparently. Again, is this a negotiating tactic? Probably.
Yeah, but like, that's not, it's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. It like, literally, it means nothing. Unless you're like absolutely deeply serious about going to war with your neighbor, and then like triggering the entire NATO alliance against you, then sure, I guess.
For the hell it is, it sure as hell is stupid. Now, Trudeau's response to this is there isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada would become part of the United States. Workers and communities in both our countries benefit from being each other's biggest trading and security partner. I am very curious how a future conservative prime minister in Pierre Poilievre, how he is going to be dealing with Trump, considering they both have very similar, far-right support bases. Well, what's going to happen there? Because, Trump's time in office, he only dealt with Trudeau. He didn't get to deal with a conservative PM. And vice versa. There hasn't been a conservative PM who had to deal with Trump. So I'm just morbidly curious how that interaction is going to play out, because based on how things currently look, Canada's next prime minister is going to be a conservative, and there's going to be some conflict there. There has to be, just based on how antagonistic Trump has been with Canada, and he's not even sworn in yet. Last thing here, I think this is a good point made by Ron Flipkowski on Blue Sky. Trump ran on a platform as a peace candidate who would stop endless wars and would end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours, but in the last 24 hours conceded that was not going to happen, and he wants to invade Greenland and Panama and wants to take over Canada through economic warfare. Trump was the anti-war candidate. Remember that? He, despite the dropping the mother of all bombs in Afghanistan, despite provoking Iran with an attack on their top general, despite increasing drone strikes to historic levels, Trump was somehow viewed by some as an anti-war candidate. Yet here he is in...
Yeah, this is some like 1984 stuff, right? Somehow, war is peace. Cut off trade, sure, the entire northeast corridor of the U.S. instantly goes dark. Yeah, and now, of all times, too. Bipedal Meatbag, welcome. Why would we want Greenland anyway? I imagine some kind of... I imagine some kind of natural resources, probably to do with energy, probably to do with natural gas or oil, maybe. Greenland has a crap ton of rare earth materials. There you go. Here's your answer. There's your answer. Something I imagine elongated muskrat probably wants to get his hands on.
Attempting to start a war with 3 different allies before he's even in. Amazing.
Man, we're starting 2025 phenomenally. Oh, there goes my camera again. I just don't know what it is. I'm gonna switch the device later. Maybe I'll have it fixed by next stream. Manju Misty, there's a race for the Northern Passage for shipping since the ice is melting. Yep, that's a good point. If Denmark could exploit the resources of Greenland, it would make the UAE look like Syria on a bad day.
Do you ever just stop to think about how insane it is that we live in a world where there are people sleeping on the streets in this country and literally starving to death? Yeah,
Greenland owns a lot of that passage. Gotcha.
We allow billionaires to exist. I mean, if every billionaire was lucky enough to live to be 1,000 years old, they couldn't feasibly spend all of that money. And worse, we allow these billionaires to buy media companies so that way they can manipulate the way that we think. Hot take, but maybe we shouldn't allow that to happen. Now, the last couple of months have clearly demonstrated how these oligarchs have accumulated too much power. If you weren't already convinced of that, these last couple of months should have convinced you, because they're now destabilizing entire countries, and in some instances they literally pose a threat to international peace and stability, which is not hyperbole, because the world's richest man, Elon Musk, met with an Iranian official on behalf of Trump after his victory in November. And while I'm relieved to know that it was reportedly an attempt to ease tensions between the two,
yeah, like why is a billionaire oligarch even acting on even doing this, right? Like, this is not the job of Elon Musk. This is a job for a diplomat. Diplomatic envoys. The passage is already open. There are just no northern ports to fully exploit that trade route. I imagine with the ice melting, that could possibly, not now, but further down the road, that could be a different story, question mark. China could run container ships 2 times the size of the ones that travel the Panama Canal.
countries. I mean, nobody elected Elon Musk to do that. And if Trump is serious about pursuing peace with Iran after escalating with them all throughout his first term, that's awesome. I appreciate that. But I don't know, maybe choose someone who's not a ketamine addicted dipshit to talk to them. I mean, we shouldn't have to worry about things going south if Elon Musk finds out that the Iranian that he was talking to tweeted something negative about Teslas or something. And not to be that guy, but this meeting might actually be illegal since the Logan Act prohibits private citizens from negotiating disputes with foreign countries on behalf of the United States. The problem is...
Yep, that's true. Canada's trying to set up a refueling port, but it's not going well. Gotcha.
Who's going to stop him? He's the world's richest man. What are you going to do? Fine him? Prosecute him? This man has the power to end the political career of any politician in every country on earth. He's untouchable, basically. And therein lies the problem with billionaires. In a capitalist system, wealth equals power. And
right, because they use that wealth to buy influence, and they use that influence to exert power, which is how this whole thing operates, right? If you have somebody that's so wealthy like Elon Musk, who is just like, it is inconceivable how wealthy that man is. I mean, like, we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars. That is just a obscene amount of money. You can do literally anything you want. Literally. You can fund lobbying groups to make sure that you get the tax cuts, to make sure that you get the regulations, the pesky regulations that are bothering you to get struck down. You can buy a literal army of lawyers to fight off lawsuits. You can fund entire political campaigns if you want to get the people that are sympathetic to you in office. I mean, there is nothing that Elon can't do, essentially, with that amount of money. Now, whether or not he is competent enough to wield that power is another thing, but nonetheless, he has that power. Elon is the immigrant welfare queen, leaving off the government handouts that the GOP hates. True. Russia's also trying to set up northern shipping route, but the Canadian trade route is shorter trip to Europe and Scandinavia and the U.S. East Coast. Gotcha.
And billionaires have acquired so much wealth that they are as powerful, if not more powerful, than countries, including the most powerful country on the planet, the United States of America, as evidenced by the fact that Elon Musk just bought this government. And these billionaires pose a direct threat to democracy. And I don't think that we've grappled with how bad things are going to get if we allow rich people to just continue to buy off governments, not just here, but around the world. And it's not just Elon Musk, obviously. The billionaire owners of the Washington Post and Los Angeles Times killed the presidential endorsements of their editorial boards last year, and a cartoonist for the Washington Post resigned after an editor refused to publish her depiction of the paper's billionaire owner, Jeff Bezos, groveling before our incoming fascist president. And the problem is that we're dealing with oligarchs who aren't elected. They have all this power, but they're accountable to no one.
Right, because of how much wealth they have. That's why. Send that link to me by Whispers, Manju Misty. Send that to me by Whispers. Quad Bennett, welcome. Trump says Gulf of America. Yes. We briefly touched on that. That is pretty absurd. Pretty absurd. It's incredibly silly. Welcome, Heat. How's it going?
We can't vote them out of the power that they have. They just always have it, and we have to deal with it. So when one of them publicly crashes out online and starts calling for the overthrow of governments and openly questions if America should invade its own allies, maybe it's worth thinking about the implications of us allowing this system to continue to operate in this way. Like, how did we get to this point? It's something we all might want to explore. Now, I'm of course talking about Elon Musk. He asked his followers on Twitter whether or not America should, quote, liberate the people of Britain from their tyrannical government, to which a majority answered yes, because of course. Now, I think that he fancies himself as a bit of a comedian, so you could chalk this up to him just shitposting, and I would agree. I don't think he's necessarily being serious here. However, it is still unsettling to think about the ways that this petulant billionaire could meaningfully affect our country's relationship with the UK, for the fact that that poll was posted in the middle of his campaign to delegitimize the entire UK government. He called for the British Prime Minister to be imprisoned. He called on the King to dissolve Parliament altogether, and he made an implicit threat of violence to British officials in response to some hollow threat to try to arrest Americans who foment riots or rebellions in the UK online. Not to mention, he's called for the Reform Party's leader, Nigel Farage, who he was once aligned with, to be replaced, since Farage didn't go along with Musk's demand that a far-right influencer named Tommy Robinson, who's known for being an Islamophobic bigot, be released from prison, who's serving 18 months after being held in contempt of court. Now, if an average person calls for new leadership of a party, or someone in the party calls for new leadership, and, something like that, that's fine. If somebody on Twitter, some rando, calls for a leader to be jailed, that's a normal Tuesday. In fact, I agree that all of these politicians that he's tweeting about are indeed bad, albeit for different reasons. But nonetheless, if I tweeted that the prime minister should step down, or if I tweeted that King Charles III should dissolve.
Sorry, your description is out of date. We're only dumbass. We're only just starting this ride. Indeed, we're just getting on, folks. The ride hasn't started. We're just getting on. Okay, whether we wanted to stay in line for this ride or not is irrelevant. We're all getting on this ride, and in a couple of weeks, we're gonna we're all gonna ride this ride together. Yeah, I didn't purchase a ticket. I didn't purchase a ticket either, but here we are, standing in line, waiting to be seated.
Of Parliament. You want to know what happens? Jack shit. However, when the world's richest man who just bought the US government expresses these views publicly, that, my friends, is an entirely different story.
Yeah, it's also problematic when Elon can tweet something and lawmakers respond based on that tweet, right? That's a problem, okay? That is a massive problem. When Elon can tweet something about a potential legislation that is being debated, doesn't matter what kind of legislation, but nonetheless, the point still stands. If Elon, an oligarch such as Elon, can tweet, whatever, in favor or against legislation, and the Congress, that's supposed to represent the people, not just him, responds to only him, and responds because of him, because of what he's tweeting, that's a freaking problem, man. That is a massive problem. When you have a incredibly wealthy individual that can just snap his fingers, I guess, or type, right, a tweet, and influence legislation without dropping a dime, simply by threatening lawmakers with primaries, that's a freaking problem, because he can. Because he can, right? If Elon really wanted to, as I was saying earlier, he can fund entire political campaigns if he chooses to. And therein lies the issue. Elon's wealth is currently higher than the GDP of South Africa.
He doesn't just have the power to foment an actual campaign to overthrow the UK government. He can use the platform that he bought to raise the salience of any issue he wants and get his dumbass minions to go along with it. For example, look at how quickly right-wing grifter Ian Miles Chong changed his tune about Nigel Farage after Daddy Elon Musk soured on him. Now, sure, this guy will say literally anything for engagement, so he's not necessarily the best example. Having said that, though, Elon Musk has created a disincentive on Twitter to where even the most mild disagreements with him could cost people actual money, so it behooves everyone on this platform, if you want to be
with him,
prominent, to parrot whatever he says and never disagree with him, so that way the gravy train keeps rolling in.
Great content.
Yeah, which is again a problem with the problem is capitalism, right? Because if you are threatening the way you're basically in control of people's revenue, then in a social media platform environment where whether or not you get that sweet Twitter check depends on whether or not you agree with the obscenely rich oligarch, then that's a problem. That's a problem.
Needs a great audience, like Santa Claus needs cookies. What? No cookies for Santa?
No. But why is he going after UK politicians? Well, in real time, we've all watched the world's richest man become radicalized to the point where he endorsed AfD, which is effectively a neo-Nazi party in Germany. But with regard to the UK, the disagreement...
Yeah, and just to be clear, Santa Monster. And just to be clear, oh man, I just posted about this not that long ago. Just to be clear, this idea that the AfD is not a Nazi party is not correct. I got you. This is just an example. Cookie Santa. I think that one works. Cookie Santa. Sorry, I'll focus. So just to dispel any notion, okay, that the left is just calling the AfD Nazis and they just call everybody who disagrees with them Nazis. No, they're freaking Nazis. And this is not something that happened 10 years ago. This is not something that happened a very long time ago. This happened literally a week and a half. Literally a week and a half ago. Or just last week. To the day, December 31st, when when this article was posted as an example. A week ago. To the day. So gotta take my sci-fi story heroin. That almost never happens. Nazi means something to us. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I personally don't like to go around and just throw out names for the sake of throwing out names because of some kind of buzzword that I want to elicit a emotional response like the right does, right? They call everything that they don't like woke. They call everything that they don't like socialism. They call everything that they don't like, leftism, whatever, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The communism, whatever. The word that you're supposed to be scared of, right? They elicit that response because that's all they have. That's not something that I like to do, and that's not something that we do here. So yeah, it is completely valid, and it is completely objectively correct to say that this is a far right party that has that has neo-Nazis in it, and so much so that they, since this is not allowed in Germany, they are literally going to Switzerland to have their little Nazi powwow. Oh, I see. Thank you. So if you want some additional resources about the story we were talking about earlier, Manjumisti just posted this here. Actually, yeah, this is a pretty neat kind of visual. Come back. Kind of visual, and if you want the Wikipedia, I got both of those links there.
That he's vocalizing there with leadership stem from his far-right worldview, and he's using his platform to meddle in a way that is actually causing real problems for them. And when I say causing real problems, I mean he is causing people to send threats to public officials based on bullshit that he is spewing. So here's why he's making the posts about them. CNN explains, quote, "For days, Musk, the world's richest man and the owner of X, has used his social media platform to dredge up a years-long scandal over historic child sex abuse in parts of England. In a 2014 report, it was revealed that about 1,400 children had been abused by gangs of men in the northern English town of Rotherham between 1997 and 2013. The far-right has long capitalized on the scandal, pointing to the South Asian ethnicities of the majority of the gang's perpetrators. Starmer's government recently rejected a national inquiry into the gangs, citing a string of existing inquiries into the issue and a 2022 report, the findings of which are still being implemented. Musk has accused Starmer of being, quote, complicit in the rape of Britain for failing to thwart grooming gangs while he was director of public prosecutions. Starmer staunchly defended his record as head of DPP on Monday, saying he changed the entire approach that had stopped victims from being heard and had the highest number of child sexual abuse cases being prosecuted on record. Now, where things really got ugly was when Elon Musk specifically went after safeguarding minister Jess Phillips for refusing calls like Keir Starmer for a public investigation. And he attacked her and made it seem like she was complicit and called her a rape genocide apologist, which is ironic coming from him since he supported a rapist for president in the American election who's buddy-buddy with Jeffrey Epstein, and Elon Musk himself supports the Gaza genocide as we speak. So he's everything that he says she is, but I mean, putting aside his hypocrisy, this...
Yeah, I mean, like, again, it's literally like, it's literally 99.9% true that every accusation that these people levy is usually just a confession. Like, it never fails. It literally never fails. As of yet, it has not failed us.
This attack on Phillips led to her being threatened and harassed. So what is basically happening is the British far right is exploiting tragedies around the country to attack immigrants and or Muslims. And Elon Musk then amplifies their claims since he's aligned with them, and he makes matters exponentially worse. It's like how Marjorie Greene initially blamed the terror attack on New Orleans on an undocumented immigrant despite having no evidence, and it turns out the dude was from Texas.
Yeah, so all that, just to be clear, all that started, that lie, okay, that misinformation, or rather disinformation, started with Fox. Fox was the one that originally reported that, and they reported that and then had to retract it. But by the time they had issued a correction or retraction or whatever you want to call it, it was too late. People like Donald Trump had already tweeted out or truthed out, I guess. He posted on his social media website. Marjorie Taylor Greene had already posted. Several other of these, the usual suspects have already, were already posting and circulating this as fact when it wasn't. That's pure disinformation, because Fox should have known, right? Fox should have known better. In fact, Fox News does know better, but ran that story without checking to see whether or not said anonymous source was correct, and ran with it because they knew that they could sell this story. And I guess some kind of light bulb clicked that said, maybe we don't want to be sued again for the two, or something, whatever. In any case, they retracted the story, but it doesn't matter because the damage was already done. As we went over this, was it yesterday? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. As we briefly touched on this yesterday. So just to be clear, all of that fake story that was the oranges of that fake story was from Fox. Magic the Gathering. Oh my goodness. It's so depressing because I actually like Magic the Gathering, and I have a huge Magic the Gathering collection over that has just been accumulating over a substantial amount of time. Okay, so I like the game. Okay, and it's frustrating that one of the biggest clowns in Congress has the initials MTG. Oh my goodness. Emphasis on suspects, indeed.
Also, right-wingers claim, every mass shooting is the result of a trans person before we know anything about the suspects. So they try to use these tragedies to push their agenda. The far right exploits pain and suffering to push their own agenda. And Elon Musk doesn't just hop on those bandwagons, he amplifies those claims and subsequently turns them into national stories that gets the government to respond immediately because they start being personally threatened, as we're seeing now. And again, we're talking about Elon Musk here. We're not talking about any Tom, Dick, or Harry. If Steve from London chooses to tweet about this, that's different than the richest man on the planet with one of the largest social media platforms tweeting about this and demanding specific action and calling for the government to be overthrown.
Yeah, and then getting government to respond. That's the wild part about this whole thing, right? Again, this is not just like about the UK, but here, right? Yeah, his own personal soapbox that he controls, that he undoubtedly, without a doubt, amplifies his own voice, to a large number of people. It's one person shouldn't have this amount of power to be able to just buy one of the largest personal soapboxes on the planet. It's just too much power for one person to have to have that control.
It's causing real problems, as this Finnish student pointed out in a now viral post, which reads, Elon Musk is rapidly becoming the largest spreader of disinformation in human history, hijacking political debates in the process. The EU must take action. Now, Elon...
True. Absolutely. I think that at some point, like, enough is enough is enough. And I think that at some point, like, government needs to step in and say, like, you know what? I think that's too much. I think that's enough. And begin to apply remedies to dilute the amount of power that this person has. It's just too much. It's just too much. Tax him out of the billionaire existence. Tax him out of existence. Seriously. I don't care how you do it. I don't care how you manage to arrive at that place. But the point being is tax them out of existence. It's just too much power. I think we learned yesterday from Rockefeller, just a little bit more is enough. Yep.
Elon Musk responded by calling him the R slur. Wouldn't write fuck, but he wrote the entire slur because, of course. And mind you, a week earlier, he encouraged people to post a bit more positive, beautiful, or informative content on this platform. So it's going well, as you can see. But I mean, which is it? Should we be nicer, or should we attack people and call them slurs? Which slurs? You can't say cisgender, that's a slur according to him, but you can say the whole R word and that's a-okay, but don't say fuck. It's just so fucking stupid. And whatever is the policy depends entirely on how Elon Musk is feeling, because as we've learned, he bases Twitter policy literally on what works best for him. As this person pointed out, he got caught liking porn, then all the likes became private. His ex-wife blocked him, then he changed the way that blocking works. He noticed people were shitting on him, then he announced that he will penalize any tweet deemed as negative. Free speech is good insofar as it's something that Elon Musk finds agreeable, but if it's speech that's negative of him or critical of his companies, or if it's a government that he likes that asks him to censor content that's critical of them, then free speech is bad. Bye-bye free speech. If it's a country that he doesn't,
almost like the issue isn't free speech, right? Almost like the issue is never about free speech to begin with, right? All these so-called free speech warriors, free speech absolutist. Almost like none of that was about free speech, and it was more about. It was really about evading consequences for their hateful and bigoted speech. That's really what it was about. Elon Musk is no different. Elon Musk is no different.
Like Brazil, for example, he may not comply and then use that as evidence that he is a champion for free speech. But in actuality, Twitter policy and free speech, it just depends on which side of the bed Elon Musk woke up on. If he's in a bad mood, that's going to dictate policy in a certain way. If he's in a good mood, well, that will as well. He can be as inconsistent and hypocritical as possible, and there's nothing any of us can do about it because he owns the platform. So we're all subject to his whims. And if you try to escape the platform, well, he also bought our government. So there's really no escape from this petulant, narcissistic man-child billionaire. And a different story that I want to touch on with Elon Musk illustrates this point perfectly. So to give you some background, there's a popular account on Twitter run by a guy named Adrian Dittman, who many people suspected was a sock puppet account for Elon Musk. And for good reason, because Elon Musk already admitted that he had sock puppet accounts before, and Adrian Dittman holds a world record, I think, for Elon Musk dick riding. It might be dick sucking, but it's one of the two. He is in the Guinness Book of Records. Look that up. I'm kidding. But anyways, I think that a lot of people assume that this guy was clearly Elon Musk because he is a narcissist who admitted to having sock puppet accounts, and it's not unreasonable to think that Elon Musk would be one of the types of people to talk himself up from an alternate account. And there's also the fact that Adrian Dittman sounds exactly like Elon Musk, like identical to Elon Musk.
Yeah, also, like, didn't Elon also have other sock puppet accounts? Right? Like, didn't he pretend to be his own child or something like that? Or didn't he pretend to be his own, like, I can't remember the story. But anyways, the point being is that Elon Musk is not above making sock puppet accounts in the efforts to feed his own ego, right? To satisfy his own narcissism. Elon is not above that. So this isn't surprise. This wouldn't be surprising if it really is him. I lean on more towards it probably is him. This Ditterman account.
So to me, this kind of felt like a John Barron type of situation. For those who don't know, there's this guy named John Barron who had posed as Trump's publicist back in the day to glaze him up on news stations and radio stations. Come to find out, John Barron was just Donald Trump. So that's what this felt like, but it turns
Yeah, some weird shit like that. Yeah, not even a tiny bit subtle. Or like how everybody knows that N wokeness is just John Poseidek or whatever his name is. Everyone knows that. It's just so very weird, right? Very, very weird.
Turns out Elon Musk is not Adrian Dittman, and it is a coincidence that there's a guy that sounds exactly like Elon Musk, that agrees with Elon Musk on everything, and likes glazing up Elon Musk at every chance that he gets. And Jacqueline Sweet of The Spectator released a scoop revealing that Adrian Dittman is just some European dude who is super into Elon Musk, which is weird, but nonetheless, Musk himself responded to this, joking about how, he actually is Adrian Dittman after, saying he's not Adrian Dittman, and it's time that the world knew. So it didn't really seem like he took it seriously, but as you can see, Jacqueline's post is no longer there. Why? Well, because Elon Musk decided to ban her account and restrict people from posting the link to her article for some fucking reason. And if you try to post this article, you're either hit with this warning about the article, or you just can't post it altogether, as Michael Tracy points out here. Now, I'm not sure why he's choosing to censor this. This is very similar to the Hunter Biden laptop.
Yeah, so, like, if it isn't him, then why would it matter, right? Like, if it isn't Elon's sock puppet account, then, like, wouldn't this be exonerating? I don't get why you would ban the links to that. Basically, I just don't get it.
Top censorship thing that he said was the worst thing ever, and it led to the Twitter files. Maybe Matt Taibbi can get on that. But I mean, the reason why
Matt Taibbi is not even in this universe with us anymore. I don't think.
He's against this is because, I mean, he woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and he feels like he just wants to censor it. Why not? He could do whatever the fuck he wants, right? And there's nothing any of us can do about it. And maybe he liked the speculation about him being Adrian Dittman. I don't know, who cares? But it should concern everyone that what is and isn't permissible on a massive social media platform depends entirely on one person who is erratic and moody. I mean, what if he goes down some anti-vax rabbit hole?
And like, that's not even, again, like, it's just too much. It's just too much wealth. It really is, because Elon's absurd amount of wealth allowed him to be able to purchase this platform. Okay, that's how we got here. It's because one person had way too much wealth, and this is what they did with it. That's really how we got here.
Next, or starts calling for wars, but unironically. it's not just a scary thought because he has a platform he can use to manufacture consent for virtually any policy or war that he wants, but he also bought our entire government and has actual influence over the most powerful people on the planet and is one of the most powerful people on the planet because of his wealth. So, to bring it back to my original point about billionaires, maybe it wasn't smart for us to design an entire economic system around letting people accumulating as much wealth as possible and encouraging that. Sure, it starts with mansions and yachts and sports cars and whatever, but eventually they get bored once they have it all, and they then become addicted to growing their wealth. And that requires lobbying and politicking, and eventually it leads to them bankrolling entire presidential campaigns. And
yeah, exactly. So again, like it's just way too much wealth concentrated into just a handful of people, and we just can't. Democracy can't operate like this. It really can't. This is oligarchy, plain and simple. It has been for a while, but I think we can say that it has been it has been. We are now seeing what oligarchy looks like in the open, if that makes sense. It's no longer like these backroom deals that we all kind of know. Like it's kind of like an open secret. We all know that, like, if you're rich and you're powerful, you generally have more access and do all these dark, behind the scenes, backroom deals and whatever. But like, that's not how things are anymore. It's straight up just out in the open, unfettered. My hubs just got home and said it's the age of oligarchs before you said it. What can I say? You guys are smart. Sometimes. Sometimes, I rub the two brain cells together and we make a coherent statement here. But nonetheless, the point being is this is oligarchy. This is what it looks like when you have an incredibly wealthy person saying, do this, and Congress acquiesces. Or don't do this, and say a budget bill gets shot down and has to be redone. That's oligarchy.
threatening opponents with primary challengers if they don't go along with whatever the president that they bought wants. The logical solution would obviously be to get Elon Musk to sell Twitter, so that way our government isn't going to be influenced by this billionaire oligarch's social media platform, and that would also benefit other governments around the world too. And it's not like it's unheard of, because our government is forcing ByteDance to divest from TikTok. But I think the best option is to just nationalize Twitter and make it a public utility, and go even further. Get money out of politics, so that way billionaires can't buy presidents or bankroll their own presidential campaigns, and maybe have a wealth tax, so that way you can't become a billionaire, so you can't buy social media platforms that actually have an influence on democracy.
Right. Like, the point being,
the problem is that
it's to avoid all that altogether. But that kind of that ship kind of flew. That ship kind of sailed a long time ago. But yeah, the point being is that it's just that you can't have billionaires. You can't have billionaires, because that's just inevitably the large concentration of wealth and influence. This is the inevitable conclusion. Globus the Elder, welcome. That ain't happening. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Welcome.
The few politicians who choose to defy the richest man on earth could lose everything. So we've created a beast that we can no longer control. You know, progressive members of Congress like Cory Bush, Jamal Bowman, they learned the hard way that you can't defy moneyed interests and keep your seat in Congress. I mean, sometimes you can, but it's difficult if you go against the grain. So the best thing to do is to go along to get along if you're a politician. So what happens is eventually politicians don't act because they're scared or they're bought, and we all kind of just become complacent and accept that this is the way it is, and it's the way it's always going to be, and we just try not to think about it. But the good news is that this outcome, this environment that we've created, this system that we've built, isn't inevitable. Human beings created this system, and human beings can create a different system. And moreover, there's 2,781 billionaires in the entire world. Elon Musk is one of them. There are more of us than there are of them. And even though it's easier to acquiesce and just accept that this is the way it's always going to be because things are never going to get better because it doesn't seem like they will, the reality is that it doesn't have to be this way. Things don't have to be shitty. A better world is possible. Enough of us just have to want to change it to be able to change it. And I'll leave you with that.
Yeah.
Woke mob.
Woke mob. Yeah, and should we want to a better world, or I guess if enough of us if enough of us coalesce and decide that that we want to change the status quo, we could. We could. So the House passes the Laken-Riley Act as one of its first acts of the year, and of course it is a anti-immigration bill to crack down on immigration. The 119th House, or expand the scope of, I guess, the range of how they want to crack down on immigration. The 119th House passed its first bill of 2025 today, the Laken-Riley Act, which would require the detention of undocumented immigrants arrested for certain non-violent crimes, such as theft. Old Growth Canopy, welcome. It's just a sign of how central immigration and border security will be for Republicans in the incoming administration. The party spent the last 4 years railing against what they said was the Biden administration's dereliction on the border security. The bill, named for a 22-year-old nursing student who was killed on the University of Georgia campus last year, passed with 264 with 100 to 159, with 48 Democrats siding with Republicans. This is like actually absurd. So like, let me get this straight. Okay. You are taking advantage of a very, as Mike Figueroa pointed out, you are taking advantage of a real tragedy that affected a real person. And then you decided to use that for your gross xenophobic gains, because this isn't like, oh, we're going to make it so that murderers don't just get let go or something like that, because that doesn't happen, ? We're talking about like non-violent people. Non-violent crimes are now on the table for detention, and I imagine deportation. The bill, named for a 22-year-old nursing student who was killed, was passed with 48 Democrats siding with Republicans to vote for it. The bill was one of a dozen pieces of legislation listed in the House's GOP rule package that passed last week, allowing it to be voted on under a streamlined process. The House previously passed the bill late March, with 37 Democrats voting in favor of it, but it did not get a vote in the then Democratic Senate. Several Democrats who previously opposed the bill, including committee ranking members and Representative Lucy McBeth, who represents a district not far from UGA, voted for it this time around. Republicans have frequently pointed to Riley's murder at the hands of an undocumented immigrant who had previously been arrested on theft-related charges as evidence for the need of stronger border policy. No, man. A criminal is a criminal, whether the criminal committed the crime here or elsewhere. Now, Republicans control the Senate and plan to hold a vote on the bill. Of course, it is likely to get some Democratic support in the Senate, though it may not be enough to clear the chamber's 60-vote threshold. Democratic leadership opposed the bill but did not formally whip against it, according to a notice sent out by Minority Whip Catherine Clark. The policies in this bill would ratchet up a number of mandatory detentions without increasing funding to carry them out. It also argued that the bill would give conservative state attorney generals greater ability to block federal border policy. So that's cool. That's literally the first thing they decided to do as the new incoming Congress. So let me I guess what this I guess the takeaway from this is the kind of tone that we are going to see in this second Trump administration, and it's quite frankly not great. We're going to, I suspect, see as much of this as possible. Again, whether or not Trump is going to get the full package of mass deportations or not, I don't know. But it is clear that this is the tone that the administration is setting. This is the pace that Republicans are going with this second time around. It's going to be heavy on immigration, and that's going to require a lot of xenophobia. That's going to require a lot of propaganda to prime people to accept or maybe be okay with some pretty horrific stuff. Read and Rap, welcome. Yeah, so much love spreading about in the chat. I think we pretty much covered this this insanity. So I guess we will just quickly go over this one here. Exactly. Lovin' is what I got. I said, remember that. Trump spent years trying to undermine Jack Smith. Now he wants to block special counsel's final word. Okay, this one's not going to take that long. To be quite honest, Judge Eileen Cannon on Tuesday today. Again, this is the judge that Trump appointed. Just to be clear, blocked the public release of special counsel Smith's final report on the investigation into President-elect Trump. The court fight that prompted Cannon's order is the capstone of Trump's year-long assault on the institution of special counsels, and the president-elect is seeking to capitalize on his earlier victories to undermine Smith's office. Those victories included Cannon's ruling last summer, finding that Smith to be unconstitutionally appointed, a Supreme Court decision that enshrined sweeping immunity, and Smith's own acknowledgement that Trump must be dropped from both cases now that he's been reelected to the White House. The defense lawyers are raising new questions about what those legal developments mean for the long-standing practice of special counsel's reports becoming public, a practice that includes the publication of reports by special counsels Robert Mueller, John Durham, and Robert Hur, and going back further under previous law, the release of independent counsel's Ken Starr's report on President Bill Clinton. So yeah, I mean, like, it's just like GG across the board, right? He won. The latest move by Cannon, again, Trump-appointed judge ruling on a case involving Trump, again, came amid a flurry of legal filings Monday night and Tuesday. Lawyers for Trump have reviewed a draft of Smith's final report related to federal investigations into the president-elect. Trump, as well as his former co-defendants in the classified document case, claimed that Smith does not have the power to even assemble the report, and that any publication of Smith's report by Garland would violate Justice Department policy, practice, and the law. The gambit is unfolding against the backdrop of the political reality that, come inauguration, the efforts to restore some of the special counsel's powers and prosecutions will end. That reality represents just the political influence that the Office of Special Counsel was designed to resist, especially when those prosecutors are assigned to investigate prominent political candidates or elected officials, and the DOJ seeks to insulate them from changing presidential administrations. The issue of Smith's final report being made public now moves to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, with Cannon's order Tuesday preventing Smith or the Justice Department from transmitting the report outside DOJ, while the appeals court considers the emergency request from Trump's former co-defendants Walt Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira. Nauta and de Oliveira have pleaded not guilty. The case against them was dismissed by Cannon, but it could be revived in appeals over the special counsel's authority. Cannon's brief order did not distinguish between the two volumes said to be in the report, one dealing with classified documents probe and the other covering Smith's investigation into the election interference. That's really the important one, in my opinion. And like, we're never probably we're not going to see this at all. So that's cool. In court filings earlier Tuesday, Trump's lawyer said the arguments against publication of the report equally applied to both volumes, while pointing to the overlap in evidence. Garland has told Congress he plans to provide lawmakers with the report, allowing for redactions required under the Justice Department policy. That would mean the DOJ would likely redact portions of the report related to the two co-defendants, since the department is seeking to continue those cases and is prohibited from prejudicing their potential trials. So yeah, I mean, like, will we ever see this report? I don't know. I guess we'll have to. See after this. After this is all said and done. I mean, it's truly absurd that something so, I would argue, so important that the public know is not being immediately released. Because I would say that, or I would think that the public, the American people, deserve to know what was in that report, particularly regarding the election interference case. I would say that it is probably the most important of those cases, because if there is evidence that a former president has defrauded the United States, through his efforts of overturning the election, has been found there's evidence to suggest that he has lied about this, perhaps participated and had direct involvement in the fake elector scheme. I think that the American people should have all of that completely transparent. And I think that it is it is I think immoral to hide this. The 11th Circuit, which is already considering the Justice Department's appeal of Canada's disqualification of Smith, has asked for a response from prosecutors on Wednesday morning. Canada's order seems to contemplate a potential appeal to the Supreme Court. As she said, her order halting the report's release will remain in place until 3 days after the appeals court issues its decision on the matter. So we will have to see if we'll ever get to see that report as the public. All right, folks, it is time. It's just about under 7 o'clock. It is just about under 7 o'clock, so we're going to call it here. Let me make sure. Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, I got to get to the store maybe and get ready for the weekend because, man, what's coming is rough. At least for this former Floridian. So yeah, I'm gonna stock up on a couple of provisions and expect to be inside for a couple of days. Folks, thank you all for stopping by. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you for your support. You guys are what makes this channel go. Thank you. If you want to continue to support the channel, keep liking the stream, folks. Keep liking the stream on YouTube. Subscribe. Do all the awesome stuff. Follow here on Twitch. Spread the word far and wide. We'll be here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out the merch store. Hit up !tip. Subscribe to the Substack. It is free. That will be starting to roll out again either this week or next. Join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. Thanks for the stream. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate that. Read and rap. Good idea. Archer tonight or tomorrow? I would say if you want to stream it tomorrow, I might be able to just kind of put that on the background. I'm actually what is it? Tomorrow's Wednesday. Yeah, probably we can do that after. We can do that after stream. That sounds good. In the evening. I'll just throw it up in the background while I get stuff done. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. Wednesday chill DV stream. All right, sounds good. Anyone wants to join? You are more than welcome. Just hit up the !Discord, and feel free. Feel free to jump in at any time. And join us for Archer. Please clap. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. Thank you all for stopping by. Again, I appreciate it. Thank you, Michael Hassler. Thank you, Heat, for modding the chat. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, about 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. Whew. Hang tight, folks. All right, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.